Yasujiro Ozu's Tokyo Story has often been regarded as one of the greatest films ever made. This is a film that looks into the westernization of post-war Japan and the decline of the traditional Japanese family. When I first watched Tokyo Story many years ago in a film studies class, this film absolutely broke me. I watched it again recently, and the same thing happened. I experienced the same rush of emotions that I felt the first time. I found the movie to be sad, but also beautiful. It spoke to me on a very deep level, and for that, Tokyo Story is a timeless treasure that will always hold dear to my heart. In this video, I will take some time to talk about my thoughts for this film and why I love it so much. The film follows Shukichi and Tomi, an aging couple from the small town of Onomichi. They decide to board a train to Tokyo to visit their adult children. After arriving in Tokyo, they find that their children have grown accustomed to life in a big city and have developed careers that preoccupy most of their time. However, Noriko, the widow of their second son, decides to take time off to spend time with them. The film contrasts the differences between the way she treats the couple with that of their own children. What's interesting to me about this film is how Ozu does not outright portray any character as purely good or bad, with the exception of Noriko, but even she has flaws. None of the characters are perfect, and the film does a good job to help you understand the perspectives of each character. The characters in this film are simply just people, and Ozu portrays them as such. Even though most of the children may seem bad for neglecting their parents, they don't do it because of any malicious intent. There are moments in this film that make you empathize with them. You see what goes on in their day-to-day lives and how difficult it is for them. You see life from their perspectives. This film takes a neutral approach in order to help you understand the complexity of family relationships and generation gaps. This film is not short by any means, as it clocks in at 136 minutes. Every scene moves very slowly. There are also many moments in the film that are important but don't get shown. Despite that, the movie is paced very well. There wasn't one moment where I felt bored or disengaged. The film takes its time to let you live in the moment, so you soak in what each character is feeling or thinking. The acting was overall very solid. I think the standout here would be Setsuko Hara. Her performance as Noriko is absolutely perfect in this film. She did such a wonderful job with her heartwarming smiles and calming tone of voice. Her performance makes Noriko feel like the sweetest and most compassionate character in film history, which makes it even more heartbreaking when you finally see her vulnerable side later in the film. Perhaps what's most effective about Tokyo Story is how universal and timeless this movie feels for me. This is a film that was released back in 1953, not long after the US ended its occupation of Japan. It is approaching 70 years old as of this recording, yet it still feels relevant today. The main reason for that is how Ozu tells a story of everyday life. Times may change, but one thing that's for sure is that we're all human beings. We all manage complicated relationships in our lives. We grow older and slowly drift away from some of our loved ones, such as our parents or children. Both times I watched this film, it made me think about my parents and my relationship with them, which absolutely made me break down. Tokyo Story is sometimes referred to as a melodrama, but it does not over-exaggerate anything. This film mostly takes place indoors, and you don't see many shots of the city of Tokyo itself. It's very minimalist, but in this case it works very well because it makes you focus more on the characters. Everything about them feels genuine, and for that, it hits you very hard. It really pulls on your emotional strings because it feels real. Overall, I would highly recommend this movie to anyone who's a fan of East Asian cinema. It is a timeless classic that shows us a lot about life. It is truly one of the greatest films ever made. Definitely check this one out. Thank you for watching this video. This is my first ever video, so I hope I did okay. I started this channel because I just want to share my love of film with all of you. Feel free to leave me a comment and let me know what you think. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.